Welcome to the Essential 99 Punctuation Rules for Court Reporters, video number 19, the question mark, part 2. I'm Ken Wick. Let's get started. So this video covers the question mark and ebook rules number 31 and 32, which are mid-sentence echo question, or the mid-sentence non-echo question, and the end of sentence non-echo question. So maybe just back up. The last video covered echo questions. So rule number 31 is use dashes to separate a mid-sentence question that does not echo the words of the sentence or is long. So remember the last video we defined a short echo question as 3 or less words. So long is really, let's call it 4 and above words. So even if you had an echo, I know the title says non-echo, but if you had a echo question which was long, like 4 more words around that length, then you would separate it with a dash or use dashes. So some examples. The new document, do you want to see it, will exonerate my client. Now this is a non-echo question that falls in the middle of a sentence, therefore we separate it with dashes. Notice that the question mark comes inside of the dash and not at the end of the sentence. And the next example is did I not try the best of my ability to find him before it was too late? Notice that this is an echo question. I know it says non-echo question, but here this is an echo question, but it's long. I try, because try, I, right? So it echoes, but it's long. It's definitely more than 4 words. So we separate it with dashes, and notice that the question mark comes inside the final dash, not at the end of the sentence. Rule 32. This rule comes up. I see questions about this rule on a regular basis, and there are some differences between the style guides. So this is probably the reason for the confusion, is how do you punctuate this? Well, it depends on what style guide you're using. But here it is. The end of sentence non-echo question. Use a period or semicolon to separate an end of sentence question that does not echo the words of the sentence. Always use a period or semicolon to separate an end of sentence question that one contains right, correct, or true, or 2 starts with can or do and refers to recollection. So it's a non-echo question at the end, and always use a period for contains right, true, or correct, or can and do. This situation is actually a statement followed by a question or an elliptical question. Now the LMEG states to use a period in this situation, but it does allow in the notes the use of the semicolon. It further allows the use of the comma for the one word right and correct at the end. So once you use a period, but then further along in the rule it says, oh, okay, a semicolon is acceptable, and further a comma is acceptable for just the one word right or correct. So maybe I should back up and say, but the examples actually have, like in LMEG, if it has like one word right at the end, that means technically according to LMEG you could put a period, a semicolon, or separated with a period, semicolon, or comma. So technically any one of those 3 punctuation marks are correct in LMEG for the one word right, because it allows the use of the comma. It doesn't say to use it. And just like here it says the use of period, but allows for the use of the semicolon. So you could actually do the period or the semicolon. The BGGP states to use a period for this rule, but it states to use the semicolon to separate the non-echo questions of right, correct, and true. So where I've said to use a period For this situation here, it says, for this number 1, if you want to call it that, it says to use a semicolon. So it says, yes, non-echo questions at the end, use a period, but use a semicolon for these 3. So notice that in this, the difference already between the LMEG is that here the BGGP would use a semicolon, and the LMEG would allow for the period or the semicolon. And the examples, I'll spell these out just to show the differences. So some examples: end of sentence. You lost control of the vehicle due to the icy road. Is that accurate? Now, there's no right, true, correct here. It doesn't echo, so this is separated with a period. You two divorced because of infidelity. Is that a good summary? Question mark. Doesn't echo, and it doesn't constrain right, true, or correct. It's not a can or do. It's not a recollection. So it's a period. So once again, I said that this situation is sort of a statement followed by a question. Now we get to the examples of can or do. You called in sick that Friday. Can you remember? So anything that starts with can or do and refers to recollection, we separate with a period. He tried to cash the check. Do you know? Question mark. So, not right, true, or correct. It's a can or do. Refers to recollection. Separate with period. Now we get to the interesting ones that contain right, true, or correct. You arrived at 9:30 that day. Is that right? So, for the LMEG, you'd use a period or a semicolon here. For the BGGP, you'd use a semicolon. And the GRM would actually use a comma. But a period and semicolon seem acceptable. So if you actually read through the rules, a comma. It has this exact example in the GRM, and it would use a comma. But a period, like I said, a period because it has other rules about elliptical questions that use a period. In semicolon, we use that to separate equal or closely related sentences. Next example is just the one word. You worked late that evening, correct? Now the LMEG says use a period with semicolon or comma optional. So according to the LMEG, period, semicolon, or comma. The BGGP says use a semicolon. The GRM would use a comma, but once again, a period or semicolon seem acceptable based upon the other rules. So this is the questions that come up. People ask these questions of these types of things with right, true, correct. This situation, they ask which one's the correct punctuation mark. Well, as you can see, the style guides differ, and then the style guides, especially, the BGGP is quite specific about it once. It wants a semicolon, so it's telling you what to use. But the LMEG is you have an option, and based on the GRM, which the skills test for court reporters, it's based on the GRM. Looks like a comma or even period or semicolon. So you sort of have an option of which ones. It's depends on what you want. So that's it. Please subscribe. If you like the video, please hit like. And please buy the ebook. Thank you.